Another Lufthansa Boeing 747 is making a one-way trip to the Mojave Desert. The aircraft, a Dash 400, is the latest to leave the fleet, having been stored at the facility in Tarbes, France, due to the pandemic. 2020 wasn't a great year for the Queen of the Skies, with many airlines from British Airways to Qantas retiring the aging aircraft a few years ahead of schedule. Thankfully, with a fleet of relatively young Boeing 747-8s, Lufthansa remains committed to the double-decker. Some of the older Dash 400s, however, are in the process of being retired, with another leaving the Lufthansa fleet a few weeks ago. On February 9th, it was the turn of Lufthansa's Victor Tango to fly to the Mojave Desert in California. The aircraft being retired is Delta Alpha Bravo Victor Tango. At 23 years of age, the aircraft isn't the oldest in the Lufthansa fleet, but it is up there. According to Planespotters.net, the aircraft was delivered to Lufthansa in April 1997. In the time leading up to COVID-19, the aircraft was making regular flights for the German flag carrier, flying around the world most days. However, in March 2020, everything changed. The aging Lufthansa 747s were some of the first aircraft grounded when the airline suddenly needed to reduce its capacity. As such, Delta Alpha Bravo Victor Tango made its final passenger flight on March 19th. This saw it operating flight LH471 from Toronto YYZ to Frankfurt FRA. Having spent the early summer parked in Frankfurt, the aircraft was flown to Tarbes LDE in France for longer-term storage on June 17, 2020. While Lufthansa is continuing to fly aircraft to Tarbes, it seems as though they're now also removing aircraft. On February 8th, Victor Tango departed Tarbes, flying back to Frankfurt as LH99923. According to the airline, the aircraft departed Frankfurt for Los Angeles International LAX as LH99922 the next day. After flying to Los Angeles, the aircraft made one short final flight across to the Mojave Desert, MHV. This isn't the first aircraft that has made the long trip to the Mojave for Lufthansa. In early November 2020, Simple Flying reported that Delta Alpha Bravo Victor Papa was also flying to the facility. That aircraft had been used in the effort to repatriate Germans stranded in New Zealand. Victor Papa had been stored at Twente in the Netherlands. The aircraft caused many bothers, as it turned out that such large aircraft were not approved to depart the facility, as their weight could potentially cause damage. However, they were granted a one-off in this case. Officially, Lufthansa retired just 5 Boeing 747-400s in early April. However, the longer this pandemic drags on, the less likely it looks that any will return to the skies. Will you miss Lufthansa's Boeing 747-400s? Let us know in the comments. Did you know that we publish over 175 stories every single week on simpleflying.com? Be sure to check the link in the description for more great stories just like this. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like and subscribe before you go.